Hello everyone, welcome back to Talk Time Africa. As always, I'm Nikki. Jay is on vacation this week and I have my sister, my friend Valerie, sitting in with me having this conversation. How are you?
Good. How are you too, dear?
I'm good.
Great to be here as usual.
And I hate to say this, regal as always.
I've told you, portraying Africa.
Representing. So today on the show we have a special personality. Don't you notice sometimes that when you see greatness, you recognize it?
Yes.
And that's our guest today, personified greatness. Sonnie Badu is a multiple award-winning gospel singer. He's a songwriter. He's a philanthropist. He's a producer and a TV presenter. And he's an author. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Talk Time Africa.
Thank you very much.
Good. So, who is Sonnie Badu?
Okay, that's one question I find hard to answer because Jesus even said, "Who do you say I am?"
Mm-hmm.
So, but I normally answer like a young man who had a dream to be a footballer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every one of my friends thought it was football,
Mm-hmm.
but God had a different plan for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I found myself doing this.
Okay.
Being a worship artist, and I've never looked back, let me say it that way. Having said that, I was brought up from a strict Christian home, and I think that played a very important part in my upbringing. So yes, and my songs are on the internet, and it's blessed a lot of people. So yeah, that's what
It's exciting that you say that, but was there a particular point in your life when you realized this is it? This is what the Lord, like people tell you that something happened. This is what happened that made me.
You want to know
actually,
the story?
I do. I think
Okay,
viewers do too.
from childbirth, I've always been around music because my grandfather, that's my father's father, is one of the godfathers, should I say, of high life music. So some of the songs are in the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, old records. Yeah. He used to play the guitar and
What's his
sing.
name? Something Manu?
Akwesimen. How to? Okay. you done your homework.
Yes,
you done
sir.
Your homework. Okay. So it's them ones that they'll be sitting by the palm wine, and then they'll be drinking, and he's just entertaining them. But unfortunately, Dad couldn't meet him. He died before Dad was born. So I think that it skipped Dad and it came on me. But Dad has the musical sense. I remember that when I was growing up, Dad was the drummer in church, but it wasn't the drums that you sit behind. In Ghana, we used to have, like the brass band. There's the one that, but we used to use that rather. And apparently, as little as I was, I'd be holding it with my tiny hands, and Dad would just be playing. I think he was just drumming ministry into my belly, But one thing my father did, and I'm so grateful to God that he's alive and seeing me doing this, is Daddy invested in my ministry. Whatever I needed, Daddy would go and get drums for me. I'll play it and rip it out. Apparently, early Saturday morning, I'll gather all the coffee tables and chairs because the house help was tidying up the reception, and then I'll be making noise,
Joyful noise,
waking everybody up, and they knew there was something in me, and Dad nurtured me very well, and that's very important. He discovered and then he nurtured it. So Dad would buy me every musical instrument I needed, a saxophone, and Dad used to give a lot. I mean, Dad would buy a musical instrument and bless a whole church with it. That's my father for you. I remember some of the rooms you go there and the brand new trumpets, and Dad used that for, I just bought it for that church. I mean, worth a lot of money, and I think every investment my father did is what God is paying him
like
back
a seed.
with, believe in me.
Right.
And my dad is my best friend. I mean, he's my everything. But when we're talking, every time I'm down, the only voice that I hear is my father's voice. And apparently when I was growing up, literally my dad's voice was so powerful. He named me after his godfather, his spiritual father, who was one of the biggest or major prophets in Ghana, who made an effect, who affected lives. And so Badu is his name, that prophet's name, but Ajiman is my dad's name. and my dad is Ajiman Prempe, and I'm the only boy, but I'm Ajiman Badu. Now the question here is, why did Dad name me Ajiman Prempe,
Right.
being the only boy who's
Right.
going to carry that
That name
on.
and the inheritance, but called me Ajiman Badu? Now, number one, the things he could not complete, God made sure that name, because every name has a voice. And so that name, Dad took me out from it, number one. Number two, it wouldn't make sense if you call me Sonnie Prempe. Does that make sense? But Sonnie Badu, So,
Now that you know.
Yeah, sometimes I sit down and I'm like, because you've got to plan the stage name.
Exactly.
And names are very powerful.
Very.
And names has to be lips friendly.
Right.
Exactly.
And all of that. So, yeah.
So
that's a little
apart
bit
from Dad and Mom, who else did you grow up with at home?
my family, my sisters, I'm the only boy, so they really pampered me.
How many
and,
sisters?
Four, three, mom, dad, and then two other step house sisters, and it was great. I still remember brilliant, beautiful times that we had together. And
I can
yeah.
see the pampering.
Oh yeah,
Don't
yeah,
you see?
yeah.
Well,
Well, I try to behave like I'm being pampered, but I'm a hustler.
that's good to know. And I know you do other things besides singing for the Lord. And tell us a bit about that.
I've got the business side of me because God is a businessman. This is what
Yes,
Christians
he
don't
is,
realize.
yeah.
Number one, he's a businessman. He never does things free of charge. He would ask you what you have in your hands. And he demonstrated that with have been teaching by bringing his son. He could have picked anything, but he's letting you know that I can exchange it, so it's good to let go sometimes. Number two, my mother and my dad, they're both serious business people. I mean, I was studying their lives, and apparently at the age of 28, my dad was making multi-millions of selling watches, selling stuff. And my mother, she's a smart hustler. I mean, she's like three men in one. Mom is she has her own travel agent and everything, but she would control men and say, no, you do not control in a bad way, but no, she's one of the best wives I can ever see. A beautiful woman. She looks very young. She's 56 now.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that puts you in what range, if I may ask?
It's a secret. It's a secret.
I'm just asking for the range, not the actual figure.
Out of the camera, I'll say.
Okay.
And so I think it just started
Going on
developing in me where I'm into properties, buy land, selling, building, selling. I'm part of a property development company in London, and that's part of the reason why I fund my stuff the way I fund it, And God has just taught me how to take 1,000 and make 10 into a 10,000. So I don't need that much. Just give me the little, and then I'll overturn it. That kind of principle. So yeah.
Good. So tell me about your cufflinks. Tell me about
that.
Tell me about what you wear around your neck.
Okay,
the
that's
symbol.
my logo.
Okay.
And I like daring God. I like doing research, and I realized that God gave David a symbol, And so I told him, okay, if you call me, give me a symbol, because I talk to him and he answers. I hear him. But the funny thing is, you need to train your ear very well, because you won't get a response like this straight away. But it could be a little child passing by, and then they'll just say something. You've got to be very sensitive, And that's one thing we think, okay, God, speak to me, and then, hello, my son, my daughter. It doesn't work that way. But you've got to be careful around you. Even your husband could pass by and make a funny comment to you, like that was the
That's
answer.
the answer.
So I've trained myself that way. But later in a dream, God said, wake up, turn your hands, do that. And I did that. And he said, take a picture. And I did. He said, okay, give it to a graphic designer. Tell them you wanted to draw a W. So a W, and it draws a W. So worship. People will think it's that. No, they're my two hands together. So, but even with the symbol W, I can even twist it and let you know the worship behind it, because it's double of you. Worship is intimacy between divinity and humanity. So you two together, man and wife, becomes one. They become, I can even scripturalize it if I want, but it's my two hands. So that's how the logo started, and I just turned it into my chain and everything. So I had a first cuffling, but I didn't like the design. I like challenges. So I said, God, I needed a better design. And he said, okay, put 2 lions on the sides. Let me be in the middle, the crown and the cross. And then that becomes your crest. And he's like, give me a word, because every crest has a word, a motto. And then he said, live to worship, worship to live. So I was going to write it in English. He said, no, do research. Do it in either Hebrew or Spanish. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. And I was like, no, Hebrew, you can't read it. But I don't want people to look at it and say, live to worship, worship to live. Duh. You know, let them try and say, viva para la adoración para, you know, that kind of, and what is there? And then you tell, oh, live to worship, and it's in Spanish. And then it will get them to also look at detailed stuff. So we did a research, got the name, and then we put it there. And then the year that the ministry was officially established, so you see, established 1999. But I wasn't going to make it mainstream until a man, one of my fashion designers who gives me shirts, he saw it and said, where's this from? I said, it's mine. He said, can I buy it off you? What did you just say? He said, and I'm like, would you buy it? And I asked him, how much would you buy it for? He said, I'll buy one for £30. Got the t-shirts coming out, and I've got Jesus girl, Jesus boy. A friend of mine was talking to me. She said when she goes to the club, they call her, you're a Jesus girl, you're a Jesus girl. But I'm very sensitive. So I was like, hold on, what did you just say? Don't worry, I've registered it, so nobody can take it.
No, I was just going to say that when it comes out, give it to us to test it.
No, definitely.
I like to test it. Yeah.
You know, so I can't sleep. I don't sleep. So my mind is always thinking. My mind is always working. So Jesus girl, I call my graphic designer, who's 24/7 at my service because of the way my brains go. So I said, put this together. And the thing about God is when He gives me a vision, I know exactly what I'm seeing. So until you get me that one, I won't let you rest. So he brought, I told him, listen, Jesus girl, I need a girl holding a bag, you know, flexing like I'm a Jesus girl.
Feminine aspect to
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then he brings the first one, I didn't like it, and I go and do research, find that one, give it to him, and like put it in the JG. So you see the crest JG, and it's got the girl in there doing that, and then the JB, and a boy standing there saying, I'm a Jesus boy, and then it caught fire. And then I've got this crest on the t-shirt as well, because people started liking it. Then I've got a crest in a circle for polos. Yes, for polos. And then my anchor scripture, John 4:24. So if Polo Ralph Lauren has number 3, then I can do 4:24 in Roman numerals. I mean, you've got to be very creative. So I've got some that says genius for the men and precious for women. And then I started writing up. I have over 100 inspirational words like flavored for favor.
I like that. I do like that. It's interesting.
So I'd have maybe the crest here and behind flavored for favor by Sonnie Badu. I come up with Sonnie Badu UK.
Okay.
You know, like French Connection UK, like DKN Dunakar in New York. So Sonnie Badu UK. God gives you wisdom, and you need to apply the wisdom. Because I have a t-shirt designed for my mom that says Sonnie Badu, and it's beautiful. I mean, when mom is wearing it, I feel like wow. You know? So now it was not complete. And then I was in Dublin with one of my keyboardists. I'm very sensitive, so we're talking, and then he was like, man, you've inspired so many people. And I was given a scenario, and he said, oh yeah, so basically he was inspired by you. So what did you just say there? So the full thing is Sonnie Badu UK inspired by you.
So that's great.
So that's another brand coming out. So in the next month, when you log on to, because my vision is this, this is my vision, that Christianity is not boring, okay?
No,
we make it look like it's boring, but it's not. So Sonnie Badu shop, you go there. If you want a movie, I'm going to go into movies. If you want a movie, Sonnie Badu has got movies, you know, action movies, but Christian movies that will change your life. If you want music, Sonnie Badu. If you want clothing, Sonnie Badu. You go into the shop, you come out fulfilled. That's the whole vision.
It's great. He's smart, very inspiring, even if he says it himself. But we'll be right back with his musical career. See you back in a minute. Welcome back, everybody. Well, we still have Sonnie Badu sitting in with us, and we're having a fun time with him. Welcome back, Sonnie.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your music for a second, because that's how we know who Sonnie Badu is. Right. So you were recently in the studio.
Well, this will be. I'm working on my second album called Colors of Africa. And it was a live recording from my Africa Worship with Sonnie Badu, which I do every 2 years. But last year's one was a huge success. 2 years ago, sorry. And that's the ones that a lot of people are watching on YouTube. The lowest hit is 70,000. The highest is almost 800,000. Yes, on all my songs. And this Africa worship, I wanted to take God wanted to take me to another mile. So I flew in Danny Duncan. Danny Duncan, if you Google his name, he's the one behind Israel, CC Winans, Andre Crouch, all the big names. He records them live. God was able to give us the finance to bring him down to record it live, and he was so blessed. And so it's a live recording and the real Sonnie Badu, because the first one, even though it's been a great blessing that you have Baba, Covenant Keeping, this is the minister leading you live praise and worship. You'll be hearing people crying because we made sure we captured the presence. So you will be hearing people weeping, crying. We couldn't, and I told them, I want that raw experience. So, I mean, we're making sure we're putting a lot in to get you that reliving experience. So, but my warning to people is you can't drive and listen to it. You might crash the car. Because you end up closing your eyes and, lifting your hands up.
Okay, so have a warning on the label.
Warning, don't drive and listen. But it's one project that I'm looking so forward to. And so to see
when is it coming out?
It's going to be out in August, but officially we'll launch it by September, so it hits into the Christmas time as well.
Oh, okay.
That's good. That's good. What about writing? What about your
writing
books?
songs?
Your books. I want to know how the inspiration
I
comes.
could sit by you and write a book right now. I think that one is a gift. You tell me about life, and I'm a deep thinker. I do research, I ask God questions, and when he starts giving me answers, I start writing. So if you take my phone, I've got a place where I've written inspirational words, and I just love writing. So that's how the book comes out. I mean, if he's called me as a worshiper, then everything he teaches me, I need to teach people. So I've written how to activate your miracles during worship, because I realized that worship brings miracles, but people are just standing there and breakthrough is waiting for you. So there's a book there. We've run out totally in London. I've got the worshiper's prayer. I've got the worshiper's cry. I've got can't even remember. I'm writing the Ultimate Praise and Worship Manual, and that's for worship leaders. After some of them read it, they won't touch the microphone again, because it's a serious ministry, and we take it for granted. So God gave me the opportunity to write that. I'm even writing a new one now, which is the Decoded Mystery, The Journey of the Cross. It's to do with worship as well.